is Nkala-Sarr. I'm 8 years old and I'm in 3rd grade. And this is my science fair project. And this is my title, Eureka! It has a kind of catchy beat, don't you think? So that's my title. And this is the question we're going to be exploring today. How does the amount of salt in a glass of water affect the ability of different objects to flow? So that's the question we're going to be exploring through this whole entire science fair project. So, and this is my hypothesis, what I think is going to happen. And this is what I think is going to happen. I think that the higher I want the egg to go, the more salt I have to add to the water to make it more dense than the object. So, more dense than the object means more heavier than the object. So the heavier the water is, so since it's heavier, it's able to push the egg up to the surface. So these are the things I'm going to need through my whole entire test. I numbered them from 1 to 8. I'm going to need 8 things in this project, and I drew and there's a picture right there. So the first thing I'm going to need is 3 eggs. The second thing I'm going to need is 3 glasses of water. 3 glasses. And the third thing I'm going to need is water. The fourth thing I'm going to need is a scale. The fifth thing I'm going to need is a graduated cylinder. The sixth thing I'm going to need is iodized salt. The seventh thing I'm going to need is 1 teaspoon, and the 8th thing I'm going to need is just 1 normal spoon. So those are the things I'm going to need through this whole entire science fair project. So now I'm going to take you over to my procedure. My procedure is what I did through the whole entire science fair project. I'm going to take you through all what I did. So the first thing I did is I weighed the eggs, and the first egg weighed 55 grams. So I assumed that the other eggs were from the same box, that they would weigh the same amount. So that was my first step. My second step was to measure the volume of each egg. The volume of each egg was 50 milliliters. And that was my second thing I did. The third thing I did is put 250 milliliters of water into each glass. So that was my third thing. My fourth thing is I put the eggs into each glass. See, 1, 2, 3, they're all in the glass. And the first one, that glass will be my control. My control glass means that glass, I won't do anything to it. I won't add any salt, I won't touch it, maybe touch it a little bit, but I won't do anything to it with any objects. So I'll just leave it, and when I add salt to the other eggs that have the water, to the other glasses with the eggs inside, I'll add salt to it, and I'll mix it in, and I'll compare it to the control. That's how, and that will help me answer my question. So that is my third step. That is my fourth step. My fifth step is, and one more thing, I added 5 teaspoons of salt to the second glass. And since the salt sank all the way to the bottom, so nothing happened at that point. So I had to take my spoon and mix it in. I mixed it very well. And then at that point, the egg started to rise to the middle. But I wanted to rise to the top. But it rose to the middle. So that was my fourth step. My fifth step is I put 11 teaspoons of salt into the glass, and I mixed it in very well. In glass 3, and that was glass 3. So I mixed in that salt, and guess what happened? It rose to the top of the surface where I wanted it to get to. So that's what happened in number 5. And in number 6, I observed what happened to the eggs. So I looked at the eggs and saw what had happened. I looked at my control and I compared it to my other eggs. The control's at the bottom. The other egg, the egg in the middle is in the middle of the glass, and this third glass with the egg inside is at the top, at the surface. It broke that surface. So I observed that. I observed glass 1, glass 2, and glass 3. So that was the 6th step I did. The 7th step is I wrote down all those things, all my observations inside my notebook. So that was my 7th step. So that was my whole entire process through. That was what I did through my science fair project. Now I'm going to take you to my observations. Now, for the first glass, it did not do anything. I put it inside that glass, and it just sat, and it just sank to the bottom, and nothing happened. So that was my first glass. My second glass, I put it inside, I added 5 teaspoons of salt. I mixed it in very well, and it actually started to rise. But it didn't rise to the top. It rise to the middle. So that was my second glass. And my third glass, I took the egg, I put it inside the glass. I put in the 11 teaspoons of salt. I mixed it in very well, as I said, and it started to rise. It rose, it passed the bottom, it passed the middle, and it broke the surface. So that means it got to the top of the glass, to the surface. So that was my third glass. So that was my observations. And now I'm going to take you to my conclusions. What I learned, and what I learned that if I want an object to float in water, I need to add salt. I need to add salt to the water to make it more dense than the object, which means to make it more heavier. Like I said in the beginning. So you make it more heavier. When the water is more heavier than the object, the water is able to push the object to the surface. So that is what I learned. And guess what? My hypothesis was right. If I want an object to float in water, I need to make the water more dense than the object. More dense than the object to make it float. Okay, so that was my science fair project. Thank you for listening to what I had in my science fair project. Thank you. Bye.